Planet Dolan.
There's no end to the weird stuff some people claim is true, from fake moon landings to haunted houses. But which misconceptions do a lot of us still think are true? What urban legends have stuck around despite evidence against them? Here are the myths people still believe. I'm Melissa, and today I'll be your narrator. Number 15. Lemmings are suicidal. A Disney nature documentary from the 1950s showed a herd of lemmings throwing themselves off a cliff and falling to their deaths in the icy Arctic Sea. This was taken as a sign that the little rodents used mass suicide as a form of population control, and people have believed this lie ever since. It even spawned a video game in the 90s. In fact, the footage was likely staged by the camera crew, who may have even been throwing the little critters. Number 14. Luxury goods are the best. Many of us have been led to believe that luxury is worth paying for, but this may not be the case for some products. Blind taste tests of award-winning wines versus cheaper ones show that people rank them correctly only 50% of the time. Meanwhile, the same test was done with the sound of a cheap violin and a Stradivarius, which can sell for millions. And surprise, surprise, pro violinists couldn't tell the difference. Number 13. The dark side of the moon. Thanks to bad astronomy and Pink Floyd, many people are under the impression that there is a dark side of the moon. It's true that one side always faces the Earth, due to the moon's slightly distorted shape always being pulled towards the planet. However, the orbit isn't a perfect circle, so we actually see nearly 60% of the moon over a month, and the other side isn't dark. It gets just as much sunlight as the side we see. Number 12. Detox diets. After overindulging at Christmas and New Year, many folks start hitting the gym and going on detox diets. The idea of a detoxifying diet is just a trendy buzzword, which has little scientific basis. It may sound sensible to flush all of those nasty toxins and bad stuff out of your system, but that's what your liver and kidneys are doing all the time. The detox myth seems to be used mostly to sell expensive bottles of kale juice. Number 11. Crystals have healing powers. In almost every city, it seems you can find a shop selling mystical energy crystals, saying they can cure various illnesses or realign your chakras. Crystals are certainly interesting and beautiful materials that can produce electric charge when compressed, and this quality led to the development of radios and record player needles. But there has yet to be any evidence that a piece of rock affects people's health, unless you're throwing them at someone's head. Number 10. Astrology. The ancient Babylonians split the sky into 12 sections, now called the zodiac, and divided the year according to which constellation the sun passed through. Characteristics and prophecies were then often based on which sign of the zodiac people were born in. Since then, the stars have actually shifted in relation to Earth, so even if the stars did control your destiny, for which there is no evidence, you're not even the sign you think you are. Number 9. Reading in poor light ruins your eyesight. Any bookworms out there may remember their parents telling them not to read in dim light, or they would damage their eyes from the strain. When light is low, your pupils dilate to let in more light, using the muscle in your iris. There's no evidence that repeated dilation causes long-term sight loss. It just means that your eyes get tired quicker when you read, like an unnecessary workout. Number 8. Knights wore heavy armor. If you visit a history museum or take a tour around European castle, you might see great suits of finely crafted armor that look like they would make it impossible to walk, let alone get on a horse. The armor was surprisingly mobile, and the heaviest full body sets weighed around 25 kilograms. By contrast, modern infantry soldiers often carry more than double this weight on the battlefield. Simple armor was also available in markets for the common soldier to buy. Number 7. We swallow spiders in our sleep. A popular urban myth is that we swallow around 8 spiders per year unknowingly in our sleep. This has no basis, as spiders would be unlikely to crawl into a warm mammal's mouth. But more interesting is the myth's source. Many online sources point to an article in a PC magazine about lies on the internet, where the journalist made up a list of untruths, including this lie. Weirdly, no evidence or record of this article exists either. Number 6. NASA's wasteful space pen. As an example of no-nonsense Russians outwitting arrogant Americans, the story is often told of a NASA project which spent millions of dollars developing a special pen that would function in zero gravity, while the Soviets, they just used a pencil. Sadly, this tale is completely untrue. Both the Americans and Russians eventually figured out that pencils make too much dust, and so both agencies ordered pressurized pens from a US company at less than $3 each. Number 5. The flat earth belief. A brief search on YouTube will reveal thousands of followers of the flat Earth theory, which questions the spherical shape of our planet. A brief lesson on physics will reveal why these people are wrong. But another myth that perpetuates is that medieval people believed in a flat Earth. Actually, almost no scholars from the 14th century describe a flat Earth, and the circumference of a spherical planet was first accurately calculated well over 2,000 years ago. Number 4. Suicides go up in the winter season. As Christmas passes and the fun of the new year winds down in countries above the equator, people have a mountain of debt and nothing to look forward to except the freezing cold weather and 5 hours of daylight. Naturally, you'd think that suicide rates shoot up in the winter, but this turns out not to be the case. Suicide cases actually peak in the spring, around May for northern countries and October for the south. Number 3. Dogs are colorblind. While you may think that your poor little pooch only sees the world in shades of gray, this is not the case. Humans have 3 types of cones in their eyes, for red, green, and blue, whereas dogs only have 2, for yellow and blue. This means that they have trouble telling the difference between green and red, but they are not totally colorblind. Canines evolved to hunt in low light, when color vision was not totally necessary. Number 2. Cheese gives you nightmares. Have you ever eaten cheese, then had a really crazy dream? Well, the two might not be as closely linked as you think. It's more likely confirmation bias, where you only remember the times that confirm your theory. Cheese does contain a substance called tryptophan, which helps the body produce serotonin for deeper sleep, but this is also present in chicken and peanuts. It may just be that eating anything right before bed has the nightmare effect. Number 1. Columbus discovered America. In classrooms around the world, kids are still told the tale of the great Italian explorer Columbus who discovered America while sailing the ocean blue to prove the world was round, and thus reach Asia from the east. It's true that Columbus believed he would reach Asia, and vastly underestimated the difference, but a Viking named Leif Erikson had set up a colony 500 years before in Canada. Furthermore, Columbus never actually set foot in North America, only south.
What? Did you know that we have a countdown book featuring some of our best scripts on sale now? Links down below for the physical and ebook versions.
And we'll catch you guys next time.